Hello, my name is Jay Grady. I'm the president and founder of AMP, the Association of Music Professionals. You are watching AMP TV. We are very excited to have you here tonight with us, and very excited about our lineup tonight. We're Sally Hendry, writer-artist, will be playing. Jean Ann Chapman, Ben Trawick, and Sterling Bacon will be our co-host tonight. Sterling is with Alliance Artists, LTD. Sterling, it's all yours, my friend.
Thanks, Grady. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to hearing the music, everybody. As Grady said, I am with Alliance Artists. We're a management firm here in Atlanta. And, talking about evolution of a song, one of the great things about my job is I get to be a witness to a songwriting process at a lot of different stages, from an artist, in their studio or their bedroom or garage, sometimes all the way to market, to the stage, to making a record. And it's a fun process to see. It's interesting to see the way every artist approaches a little bit differently and a little bit the same. It's interesting to see how it works differently from genre to genre. I work with one of our clients is fond of saying, it's a Da Vinci quote. He says, "Art is never finished, it's only abandoned." Oh. And it's something that we think of a lot as we go through the songwriting process with our artists. And it's interesting because one of the questions that it raises for me that we'll get into a little bit tonight in thinking about the evolution of the song is, at what point is a song finished? And I think the answer is maybe a little bit different for every artist. And I think that for some artists, the answer might be that it never is finished. So we'll touch on that, and we'll hear some music and hear how these songs are inspired, right, and what brought them about.
Before you go, Sterling, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. Could you share with us some of the artists you work with? And we'd like to know a little bit about Alliance Artists, actually, some of the things you do.
We're primarily a management firm. We represent the band Styx, The Outlaws, Black Hawk, Counter Christian and Southern Gothic. We have two writers named Simone Simonton and Hope Sonam. Mm-hmm. Over the years, we've worked with Leonard Skinner, Bad Company, John Waite, who I believe you may have worked with, Jean Ann. Mm-hmm. So in management, we're hands-on between, we're sort of the buffer between our clients and the outside world. Every phase of career development comes across our desks, whether they're writers, whether they're recording artists who tour. And we also have a record company called Pazzo Music that's distributed through Fontana Universal. And we've just put out our fourth record, I think. Mm-hmm. So management's great because we get to be involved in every phase of career development. Right, yeah. So,
yeah, I believe you also do a tour. You produce tours as well. Janet Jackson, I believe, is one that you've done.
We did the Velvet Rope Tour in 1998, mm-hmm. And we still have a partnership with Outback Concerts in Nashville to promote concerts especially in the Georgia market.
Wow, exciting stuff.
A lot of different stuff.
Yeah, very interesting.
So if I can, I'd love to introduce our writers. To my left, Ben Trawick. Ben, you're a Georgia native.
Yes.
And living in Conyers, and I know you've got two young ones, and I'm going to ask you too about kids and your guitar, but we'll get to that. But tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into music and your musical background.
Well, I lived in Georgia. I was born in Georgia, moved to Texas for 8-9 years when I was a child, and then we moved back to Georgia, so pretty southern I am. But my dad played the acoustic for years, and I kind of picked it up from him. So started playing acoustic guitar at a younger age, and I was always a singer, but I played the drums too. I was better at drums than guitar, so I was a drummer, but I love to sing, and it's hard for me to play the drums and sing. So that's when I took guitar a little more serious and began to just kind of sing what I was thinking. Started writing at a young age, and it just kind of progressed to my biggest hobby now. I mean, I really love to sing and share what I feel like God's placed in my heart, whether it be Christian music or moody music, or however I'm feeling music. That's kind of how I write.
I like that. That's good.
So do you, as a former drummer, do you feel, I know a lot of drummers who tend to write like drummers, real rhythmically, and or even if they pick up a guitar, you can hear it in their style. Maybe it's in the vocal phrasing. Do you feel any of your old drum roots coming through in your songs?
Not really. I don't feel like I have a lot of influence with my drumming because, I mean, if I did, I'm the slowest drummer in the world because I write a lot of slow songs, very melodic, and so it didn't really impact me that much, I don't think. You hear
Drums
a
are
lot of
history,
that.
huh?
Yeah.
Okay, to Ben's left, Jean-Ann Chapman. Now, Jean-Ann, when I read through your bio, it's littered with pretty notable names. And if I'm not mistaken, you sort of got your start in Hollywood.
I grew up in San Francisco Bay Area and moved to Los Angeles. I started in TV and touring and doing session work in LA. And after a few years of doing the road and doing television, I did a lot of work with Mac Davis, and we did TV and road, and also with Loretta Lynn, we did a lot of TV and road. She, of course, both of them were at the peak of their career, so it was a rigorous schedule. But Loretta talked me into moving to Nashville because I was coming to Nashville to work with her on her albums. And with Owen Bradley, so I moved to Nashville, and she said, if you're going to continue to write, at that time I already had a couple of songs recorded by other artists. One was Walter Egan, which was a pop song, and one, Love is Like a Rolling Stone, with the Pointer Sisters. So I was on my way, and when I came to Nashville, it was great because the writing there is impeccable, and I met a lot of great writers and got to work with a lot of great writers, and thus I got signed to Warner Brothers at the time, which is now Warner Tamberlane, and it was a wonderful experience. And I still have one writing partner that I worked with there, C. Michael Spriggs, who still lives in Nashville, and he and I still write together, so that's been a long partnership. But anyway, then I moved to Atlanta, and I got music rolling here with my husband. He opened a studio, and I have a lot of writing friends here in town, and Tom Gray's one of them, and Jim Evans, Chick Cusick, and Jerry Z. So I've got a good group of
Don't forget me, because we're
that's right. We're going to write together at some point.
We could probably do a show just listening to stories that you've got from your career with some of the people you've worked with.
Yeah.
Pretty dandy ones.
I'd like to just ask you, too, because I was reading your bio, and it is very impressive, and it's just amazing. Who are some of the pop acts that you toured with? Didn't you tour with some as well? Yeah.
And I traveled with the Babies, and we opened for Alice Cooper, and that was
my
a treat.
hero,
It was
yeah.
so much fun. And he was a really nice man and a great golf player.
Yes, he is. He plays with Paul Hart.
I loved working with Kiki because she had such a marvelous voice. And thus I got involved with Elton and his band. And his band was Davy Johnstone on guitar and Dee Murray on bass. Well, they loved my music, and they were my first big publishers in Hollywood. So that was it was Eric House Music, and so they were my publishers for a long time before I went to Warner's.
I'd love to, we'll circle back on this, but I'd love to get your perspective on, because you've worked with pop acts and country acts, and just from a writing perspective, how you see differences, if any, in writing in different genres. But we'll touch on that in a bit after we've heard some music. Last but not least, Sally, you and I had a great chat out in the lobby. I also think we could probably do a whole show just based on some of the things you told me about your musical history. But what struck me right off the bat, and that we chatted about a little bit, you're from South Africa. And, one of the first questions I asked you was how South African music, at what point you came to the United States, and did you bring and you told me, I think it was only 12 years ago. And so how much South African musical influence came with you. And you made the comment that, during apartheid, because of the censorship, you were actually, there was a lot of amazing traditional music that you really didn't get a chance to hear in South Africa. But tell us a little bit about your background and musical history.
Sure. Well, I kind of was a kid in the 80s, and so a lot of the music that we were hearing was CCM from America. So we were exposed to, oh my goodness, the Imperials, White Heart, Petra, White Cross, Striper was really big. Margaret Becker came through, and that was a lot of what the youth in South Africa were hearing. There were some bands, and again, they were kind of politically very out there, and the one band was called Friends First, Christian band, kind of pushing the envelope politically because they had African sounds to their music, and it was beautiful, and it was really moving because their message was very much reconciliation. And you could hear the African beats and what they did, and they brought in indigenous languages. I think they used Zulu, and it was really beautiful. Victor Masondo was on bass guitar, one of our professionals, African guy. So that was special, but a lot of the music was probably influenced by America in the 80s. And yes, I think it would be fair to say that censorship played a part in white expression being limited and not as exposed to African music, which is sad, but it's coming back. It's called the Rainbow Nation. And I think if you went back to South Africa now, it would be fascinating to see the different influences and how African music is definitely filtering through, and there's more rhythm and color, which is exciting, part of reconciliation.
But you made a couple stops after South Africa before coming to the States, right?
Yes, I was privileged to live in England for a year and a half, and then we went to Indonesia, Jakarta, Indonesia. Great scuba diving, great barrier reef. And then the Lord very clearly brought me here to Atlanta. When I was 16, I had a picture of being in Atlanta one day, and it was just a prayer of my heart, and I thought, maybe that's just the yearnings of a girl of 16 and just a dream, really. But when I was about 23 years old and working in television, I felt the Lord stir my heart again and say, do you remember that picture I gave you of Atlanta, America? And, I didn't know where Atlanta was. I just felt the Lord say, one day you will be in Atlanta. And to finally have the opportunity after Jakarta, it was a long way to get here. That was just a dream come true and a real sense of the Lord putting that on my heart. So it's a privilege to be here.
Well, we're glad you're here. We're glad all you guys are here, and I think with that, we should get to some music. So, Ben, I think we're going to start with you. All right. What are you going to play for us?
I think we'll play, it's a song, it's called Stay Close to Me. And it was really, I was going through a hard time, and it's the typical, the common inspiration from a songwriter where you're pressed down, and it was really a time where I was desperately trying to communicate with God and say, Lord, I know the truth, and I know that you're with me. So just stay with me. And that's where it came from. It's called Stay Close to Me. Stay close to me, with my back's against the wall. You're the only one I need. And when I'm weak, you are strong. You carry me where I belong. Your hands on my life, Jesus, Jesus. You were patient when I ran from you. Oh Lord, you gave me one more chance to start all over again. Stay close to me, I'm finally here. I've heard your calling. Stay close to me, Lord. touch my eyes, may they never be too blind to see. Anoint my lips to sing your praise. My one desire is to speak your name. If only you are pleased, Jesus, Jesus. You were patient when I ran from you. Oh Lord, you gave me one more chance to start all over again. Stay close to me, I'm finally here. I've heard your calling.
Nice, very nice. Ben, we've talked a couple of times on the phone over the last couple of weeks, and I'd like you to share with the audience your writing style, and you had shared with me how you like to write songs. Actually, Sterling and I was talking about this earlier out in the hall, about writing songs with a message, not with labels and names. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, recently, I say recently, in the last couple of years, I've tried to change my method where I really want to write a parallel song. It's very challenging to me to write a song that it could mean Jesus, or it could mean, your wife. So, and that is not, that can be a controversial issue, but to me, I like to write relevant songs that not only the Christian audience can, it'll appeal to them, but also the people that aren't Christian or people that are interested in Christianity.
Right.
It'll kind of just be something that's enjoyable to everybody, really. And so it's a big challenge to me, and it's fun to write a song that can relate to me and the other brother.
Well, you're in good company with that kind of thinking. I remember Amy Grant, when she started writing some of her latter stuff, she said that the label, for those who don't know who Amy Grant is, she's one of the probably biggest ever Christian singers. She said when she started with her label, she about had to have Jesus or God 5 times in every line. And, she started writing, and actually her sales really just took off when she started writing, just what you're talking about. And I just want to encourage you. I think that's really good. That's something we can all learn a lesson from. Thank you.
Do you ever have a conscious moment as a writer when you maybe midway through a song, maybe it's the end, at any point when something in your gut says, this is great, or something that tells you the difference between something you're doing that's good and something that's great?
Yeah, I think the biggest indicator to me, and y'all would probably vouch for that, is when you don't have to think about it. It just comes just like that, and you get it, and you write it in 5 minutes. You've got 2 choruses, or 2 verses, a chorus, and a great bridge, and it's done. And you didn't really have to scratch and dig and reach down in your soul to get it. It just really flowed.
It's always interesting to me to hear different writers talk about parts of the process that are gut level and purely emotional, and other parts that are maybe a little bit more analytical and a little bit more, I'm going to break this down word by word. And so I love the process. But can we hear another one?
Sure. This song is called Not Alone, and this touches more on the style that I've kind of grew into as far as just being more relevant to all groups. Even when I'm alone, I'm a long way from falling out of love. Peace, it floods my soul. I know you said you'll never leave, that's reason to hold on. 'Cause I can call, and you will hear my You are by my side, my comfort, you're my strength. You help me overcome my weaknesses. Now come accompany my loneliness. Sometimes I feel so small in this big old world. How does God understand it all? When my walk's just a crawl, you stand me up firm and embrace me in case I fall. 'Cause I can call and you will hear my cry. I'm not alone. You are by my side, my comfort, you're my strength. You help me overcome my weaknesses. Now come accompany my loneliness.
Very nice. Before we go further, if you want to ask me a question, but you are finishing up an album right now. Is that correct?
I am. I'm in the middle of it.
You're in the middle of an album.
And, it is a self-funded album, so it's slow, but it is moving forward.
Okay. So does the audience have a way to contact you if they wanted to purchase that album or learn more about Ben? And if they don't, we can definitely have them contact us at AMP.
Right. Well, right now, I don't even have my website.
Okay.
Yet, so,
Well,
yeah,
let me encourage you guys, if you'd like to learn more about Ben, you can hit us at myamp.org or email us at gschuman@myamp.org, and we'll be glad to get the information needed so we can support this guy. You got a heck of a talent, man. And
thanks.
we're
And you can
honored
email
to
me
have you.
at bentrawick@yahoo.com.
Before we jump down to Sally, I got to ask you, Ben, I know you've got 2 daughters,
Yes.
7 and 5, you said?
7 and 5.
So
And 1 on the way.
that's right, and congratulations. So you were writing music before you had children.
Yes.
I'd imagine that when your children came into your life, you had an amazing source of new inspiration. Did you also occasionally find dolls and toys stuffed in the sound hole of your guitar?
Oh, yeah, my change. You know,
Loose
there's a lot of
change.
ice cream money in here.
I went through a long stretch where I couldn't pick up a guitar without finding stacks of Lego inside the sound hole. So glad it's not I'm not alone in that. Sally, one of the things you and I were talking about earlier was the different instruments you were around growing up, and I'd asked you if you always write on the piano and if you ever pick up other instruments, and I think you said primarily you write on the keys. But one of the things I was getting at was sometimes picking up another instrument forces you to get out of your comfort zone. And I think that writers, it's very easy to fall into a pattern, a box pattern of the things that are, not just writers, really, I think in life. We all have our safety zone, and sometimes it's hard to get out of it. What kinds of things, and this is really a question for all of you guys, what kinds of things, whether it be picking up another instrument, changing keys, changing tunings, etc., do you do to help yourself get out of that safety, that comfort zone, and push yourself a little bit as an artist?
I think experiences in life are a catalyst for that. You know, you can reach a point where you're just hitting a ceiling and there's a stagnation, and there's nothing like an experience you're going through to really shake you loose and shake off that inertia. Stylistically, though, I think it's helpful to expose yourself to different genres that you may be not usually comfortable with, or you don't kind of go to it, just to sit and have a listen and hear what people can do and what they're doing, and the inspiration that can come to you just by the dexterity of their craft. And then the other thing for me, which is the tough thing, is exposing your music and having someone say you are hitting a ceiling, because sometimes we can think, I think I'm hitting a ceiling, but maybe that's just kind of more in my own thinking. And for someone else to say, I think you're capable of more, I think that you need to be stretched, certainly kind of shakes off the cobwebs for me and stretches me and forces me into a different zone, a different space with music.
Yeah, and you're touching on something too that I think we'll talk about a little bit more as we go. Just putting your music out there, and sort of that vulnerability and what that brings in terms of perspective as a writer. Jeanne, you have any tricks for getting out of that comfort zone?
I'm with you. I like to listen to music every day. As soon as I roll out of bed, I start something. And I like to stretch and listen to different styles. And world music is really great. That is what really expands, because there's so many sounds, and that's why I'm so excited to meet you from South Africa. There's so many great percussion instruments. There's so many great string instruments. And as a child growing up, you think, oh, piano, drums, bass, guitar, and stuff. But, you know, as you grow older and you realize there is an enormous amount of instrumentation in the world, and beats, and, you know, flavors of the chords and the tones and stuff. So that really keeps the ball rolling for me. The other thing that keeps me writing is doing singing projects, and especially if I step out of the box and do something in a style. I'm not hit the notes, I'm learning a new style, and that keeps that filled up.
I remember as a kid being exposed to Celtic music. I remember the moment when I learned or realized that bluegrass, and I think it was actually a moment where I was hearing the two things, discovering the similarities between Celtic music and bluegrass, and then learning more about the roots of bluegrass music. But point being, it was opening my eyes and my ears up to this idea that world music, that there are sounds in other parts of the world that can offer you so much as an artist, as a writer, just as a listener. So it's always been, we were talking about Paul Simon's Graceland album, Out in the Hallway, which for me as a kid was an early moment of hearing some music from another culture, from another continent, obviously, come to mainstream America. And it was a big moment. It was a telling moment for me. It was I think back on that album, and it was really sort of an eye-opening moment as a kid when I thought, listen to these sounds that I'd never really heard before, been conscious of hearing before. But
that album really opened a window in my heart. And, you know, the heart and soul drives your music, at least for me. I'm music from my eyelashes to my toenails. So it was really a great inspiration.
Ben, we know you gave up the drums, but you got any other, how do you get out of your safety zone?
Their way is definitely getting you back on track, getting you on the right road to writing. I know I experience a block often when I just simply catch myself not writing from my heart. I'm trying to write something and it's not natural. You have to be natural. You know, you have to be. You can't. I can't imitate somebody else or try to sound like someone, and it really come out a complete song.
You know, that is a really good point that you're bringing there. And Gina, I'm sure you've been around Nashville enough, and we've both been up there in the different labels and publishing houses. And one of the things that they pick up on really quick, and as a new writer, I learned some memorable lessons, let's say, with my songs getting thrown in the trash can, you know, in front of me. It's a tough business. It's a tough business up there, and you got to have thick skin. But you got to have skin, an extra layer with you at every different place you go. And one of the things and I use when I'm working with new writers today is you don't want it to sound contrived, right, Angie? I mean, Jeanne.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't want it to sound forced.
That's right. Yeah, that's important that it doesn't. Very important. Mm-hmm.
Sally, will you play for us?
Sure. This is called Faithful, just the faithfulness of God through our unfaithful seasons and the tough times that we face. Lord God, you are so faithful. Every day I am amazed at you. Your word's unfailing, your word is true, and I am honored to be a daughter of the Most High God. I'll lack for nothing, my shepherd, my Lord. You have given me the breath I breathe. I long to see you clearer each day. When I hear your voice, may I listen and obey. Seasons come, goodbye to yesterday. Once again, your love has carried me over and over, destined to win the dream of holding on to what's to come. I'll lack for nothing, my shepherd, my Lord. You have given me the breath I breathe. I long to see you clearer each day. When I hear your voice, may I listen and obey. May I listen and obey. I lack for nothing, my shepherd, my Lord. You have given me the breath I breathe. I long to see you clearer each day. When I hear your voice, may I listen and obey. When I hear your voice, may I listen and obey. You are so faithful. Thank you. Thank you.
As a writer, are you the kind of writer that likes to revisit material and do rewrite after rewrite? Do you tend to put things on a shelf and be done with them? Is there a middle ground somewhere in there? When do you feel like a song is done, or do you?
You know, to be brutally honest, I think a process of maturation is being willing to revisit the work. You know, when one just is kind of relieved that it worked and you put it on a shelf and you don't want to touch it, I think there's a problem there for me. If I'm really trying to go to the next level, I need to go back and visit it and say, no, this was wrong with this, and be willing to be critical and take it apart and say, how can I rephrase that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, to be glad with what you've produced, but how can I better it? And be in that mentality where you know you can always perfect. And I love that quote of Da Vinci, that there's always work in the making. We abandon it, but are we willing to come back? And I do find if I pick up a song that I haven't touched in 15 years, I mean, there's so many different ideas that I can do with that song that I'm amazed that I was ever once satisfied with that. Not in a, oh, I hate this kind of way, but just in a, there's a lot of room for change here, and there's a lot of room for growth. And I think that that's a healthy mindset as a songwriter to be in, is how can I change that? And some of the stuff I've written, to be honest, I'm embarrassed. I just realized that there was a lot more I could do. And to think of my mindset when I wrote that song was, wow, this is great. And there was a lot of room for growth. And I think that mindset's healthy, for me anyway.
I love that idea that you don't just grow as an artist, but a song itself can have its own life and grow with you. And whether that's through a rewrite, whether it's through a process over time, artists that sometimes you hear a song that develops on the stage. It's written, but then they start to play it for people with an audience, and over time it becomes something different. Sometimes it's in the studio tracking it. I mean, there are all kinds of phases in a song's life where where it can go through that process. And I think I do love that idea of a song having its own life, there's an ebb and flow to it, and it's very tied to the same ebb and flow that the songwriter experiences and goes through.
It's like a work in progress.
Yeah.
So,
That's great. Will you play another one for us?
Sure.
What's next?
This is called Longing. I think all of our hearts at times have an area of longing, and just those dark places as well where we feel, oh man, I like what Ben was saying earlier about you're unchanging when our lives are changing. So this is just a song called Longing.
Heart beats now, deep within the essence of my being, mystery of love. You gave unyieldingly, just like the rain that falls down, flowing endlessly over me. Oh God, I'm longing just to tell you that I'm thankful. You are everything that I could ever need. All my dreams, Lord, start and end in you. Submit to you. With fragrances of springtime in the air, and scudding clouds that blow the frost away. Submit to you.
Thank you.
Sally and I go back a ways. How many years ago, Sally? 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. I had an opportunity to write a song for the Atlanta Vineyard Church for an Easter program that they did, and Sally performed it, and guys, I just fell in love with her voice right then. It's so rich and just really pure. You can feel the love in it. And Sally, we just got a question from our chat room, and anybody can jump in on this question if you like. But the question is, how do you distinct the two, worship music and relational music, and maybe which one do you like to write the best? You guys follow what I'm talking about? And so if anybody, Sally, would you like to respond to that from our chat?
I think that's a beautiful question. I mean, for me, worship music is relational music to God. But I like Ben's idea that sometimes you can have that twofold interpretation, because different people can be touched in different ways. But I like relating to God more on a relational level, where He is my God, He is my lover, He is my sunshine, He is my day. Not necessarily the more conventional worship style, but something that is intimate, that is expressive, that's real, that's raw, that goes down the road of truth when it's not so pretty. Whereas worship music, you really want to put the glory on the Lord. And I think when you're writing your own songs and you can be more relational, you can be a little bit more raw and tug at the heart, and God gets it, and you've got more liberty in some ways to do that, I think.
Very good. Anybody else like to? No? Okay. Well, I want to encourage you guys. We do have a live chat room, and if you'd like to ask us questions, we can't get up to all of the questions right now, but if you send yours in and we don't get to them, we'll be glad to answer them at a later time. Okay, thank you.
Jean Ann?
Yes.
I've been dying to ask you this question because I know that you've had songs recorded by other artists. Do you ever, which I would imagine has got to feel like a great honor, have you ever heard a recording of one of your songs and thought, this artist brought life to my song that I hadn't imagined, or they did something wonderful to my song? And the flip side, without naming names, have you ever had the opposite experience and heard one of your songs recorded and thought, that's not what it was meant to be?
Well, the first song I ever had recorded was overseas, and I was with Joe Bett Motown at the time, and I had no idea who the artist was, so I didn't get a chance to listen to the recording, which happens a lot in, now we call it international airplay, but when the Pointer Sisters were interested in recording my song, I got to go to the session. Davey and Dee were my publishers, and they were also going to play on the song, which was great, because they had played on my version of it. And as soon as I walked in, I got to tell you this is a cute story. There was this really nice man sitting, usually, there's like the window between where the musicians are and the booth. And I thought I recognized him, and I walked in and I saw the girls, the Pointer Sisters, and hey, Jean Ann, how are you doing? I went, yay, great. Cool. And I said, who is that? And they said, that's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And he stood up, and I shook hands with him.
And up
he
and
was
up and
really
up.
tall,
Right.
wasn't he? Over $70.
Wow.
He seemed like it anyway. And I said, hello, Mr. Jabbar. And he goes, you can call me Kareem. But he was there to listen to the session, and the girls said to me, well, why aren't you singing this song? And I said, well, I did sing the song, and that's why you guys are going to cut it. And I got to sing backgrounds with them. So hands down, they brought tremendous life to the song. And I must say that every song that's been cut has been such a pleasure. I did one song called Do It Again that was kind of a emotions type, 3 Degrees type style disco hit. And this girl, Paulette Reeves, did a dance hit on it, but it was slow and kind of groovy, and I loved what she did. It was totally different style, so I've been lucky. I've been really lucky.
Is there ever a sense of letting go of like you're giving something special away, or is it a sense of gain, of like a new gift, a new life to something that means so much to you?
When I write a song and finish it, I expect other people to hear it and record it. And I give it away freely because it might be a bluegrass band that hears an R&B song I did. I don't know. You know, you just never can tell. So you kind of let them run with it. There might be some stinky songs somewhere that I haven't heard that people have cut my things, but I haven't heard them yet. And I relish the idea of people taking it and giving it an arrangement that I wouldn't have thought of. And I don't have trouble letting go of my songs. I remember one song called It's a Heartache. A lot of people say, oh gosh, but I've got to have this song so nobody else can cut it. Well, at one time, that song was on the charts in the top 100. There were 3 different artists doing 3 totally different styles on that cut. So, yeah, so, you know, put the music out there and let it fly around.
Jean Ann, I have a question I think
Sure.
you might can answer for new writers. And, you know, that's what AMP is all about, guys. We're to help to develop, mentor, and train them and help to get them out there and equip them with the tools that they need to prosper in their career. And I'd like to ask you if you can go back and remember when you were beginning to write, and even now, it's very difficult. It's a very tough thing to get your songs cut. I mean, it's not as easy as you may think. What would you, if you had one thing you could tell a new writer to do, what would you tell them to really go for? Besides crafting their song, of course, that's, you know, a given that they want to write it the best they can.
Okay. I've learned this over the years. I didn't practice this always, but I've learned this, and it helps me. As soon as you wake up in the morning, get your recording device or a pen and paper immediately. It's called free streaming. I studied this. And jot your ideas down, whatever it is. A morning thought, you see a bird, you hear this, or blah, blah, blah. Put something down. Or if you've got a little melody, which many times I wake up with melodies in my head, just hum it. Go ahead and hum it and get the ball rolling. Okay?
Right.
Then make your coffee.
That's right. And as a writer, as a staff writer in Nashville, you co-write a lot.
I co-write a lot,
You co-write
and I love
a lot,
it.
right?
I like
Yeah,
to write by
yeah.
myself,
Yes.
but I love to co-write. My other thing, just to finish the last question, is there's 3 things you should do, and that's call 3 people. Get that ball rolling. Call somebody to write with. Call a producer and ask them if they're looking for tunes. Call a friend and say, I just wrote a tune, can I play it for you? Do something having to do with your music work. 3 at least a day, 3 a day.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you saying here is that there's a lot more to it than just writing a song. That's actually a very small part of it.
It is, and what was your question? I'm sorry about the Nashville. I'm sorry, I dropped that thought.
I think I dropped it with you.
Okay, that's okay.
We'll pick it up later.
That's all
think
right. I dropped the ball, but
yeah.
anyway,
okay.
it's every day. It's like exercise. You don't have to do an hour of exercise every day. If you do 5 or 10 minutes, but it's every day, that's when you're going to see results. Same thing with songwriting.
I do have one more question. I'm just excited to have you here, so I'm going to use you as much as I can here because I know you got a lot of experience and can answer a lot of questions for folks out there. I would like to hear you talk about a hook book. You know what a hook book is, right? Keep a little book you keep your hooks in. We use those in Nashville. A lot of us had hook books.
Titles and hook
titles
books,
and
yeah.
hooks. And the reason you have that, well, that's the main part of the song, actually. You know, but can you elaborate on what a hook is?
They used to call me the hooker.
So you were a hooker?
Nashville.
Is that what I'm understanding?
I always
No.
came up with a title, and I could strum a few things. Yeah, I was the hooker, and I would come up with the chorus. I mean, right off the bat, or at least the hook line. I could dream up, and they fall out. I don't even have to look at signs and read books, and I got to try to. They just fall out. I'm blessed with that.
So what is a hook?
A hook is like, for songwriting, it's like the title of the song or the chorus of the song. But also, a hook can be a guitar line. So you've got
That's
an intro
right.
to a song,
Very good.
and you recognize a Led Zeppelin song, say, for instance, Stairway to Heaven. Well, hands down, one bar into that song.
That's right.
That's a hook. That's a hook. It's to get your attention, to hook your attention. And there can be, through a song, there can be several instrumentations, or the background vocalist can take it and drive a hook while the lead singer's dancing all over the melodies.
It's very important that as a writer, if you are a new writer, that you pick up on that. And the way you explain it about having musical hooks as well, that's very important too.
Satisfaction, the Stones.
Right.
And you mentioned an idea coming to you in your sleep. I think Keith Richards says that riff came to him in a dream.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And also the just your comment about waking up and jotting down notes. I love hearing stories about how songs can be inspired by. We've all heard thousands of songs about heartbreak, and so as a listener, you relate instantly to that moment of heartbreak and the things that come with it. But I was talking to someone not too long ago who said they saw the sunlight hitting a hillside a certain way, and they didn't write a song about sunlight hitting the hill, but that image in their minds
stirred up something else.
Evoked certain feelings and sort of images of a certain life and a time, and so that inspired the song. And so it's not always, I love your comment, because it's not always the obvious. Sometimes it's something incredibly, seemingly small in everyday life that we pass by, that we can find inspiration in.
It's like you take a snapshot, and then it's like when you're a songwriter, this is how I approach it. Always have. As a child, I used to come home from school, and there was this little show on in the afternoon on TV with this artist with this big easel. And it was for kids, and he would draw a squiggly line on the canvas. And then from that line, that squiggly line, he would draw a cartoon character or a picture. And I think that's what songwriting is. It's coming up with the end product from the little squiggly line. And let me just add, if I may, just real quick. I told you I could go on, so you can hush me up when you want to.
You're good.
But in choruses, there's two kinds of choruses. Well, there's probably a million kind of choruses, but these are the two I think of, probably the most prominent. One chorus usually starts off with the hook line in the very first line of the chorus. And it might drive all the way through the chorus, or it might be every other line in the chorus, but it's the title of the song, or it's the hook of the song. The other kind of a chorus is, I call it the ta-da. The chorus might tell a story, and in the very last line they drop the bomb, and that's the whole point of the story, and that's a hook too. So two different things.
Can you play something for us?
Sure, I'd love to. This song came after my husband passed away, my mother passed away, my goddaughter passed away, my dog passed away. Had a lot of death over the last 7 years, just in a row. A lot of family members and stuff. And this song fell out. It's interesting. It's the fastest song I've ever written. And I closed it up with my songwriting partner in Nashville, and he helped me record it. But it's the song I'm most proud of that I've ever written in terms of melody and content and everything. And also, I don't think I'd change anything about it. And it's the only time ever, because you were talking about that earlier, I always go back to my songs and go, doggone it, I wish I'd said that there, or especially if you've recorded it and spent money recording it. I wish I would have, said that there, or, changed the bridge around or something. But this song, start to finish, it says what it says, and I do say this. When you're a songwriter, let the song write itself. Work on it, do the craft work, but let it come on its own volition. It will finish itself. It may take 5 years. If it's not done, it's not done. Don't force it. It'll come. So I was fortunate with this one, and it's a personal song, and it's a God song. So let me play it for you, and then if you have any questions, we can talk about it afterwards. If anybody's lost anybody, this is a good song for you. I can tell there's something wrong. I can see it in your eyes. You don't have to say a word. I can hear it in your sigh. The rain will stop someday, and you finally see blue sky as the storm clouds drift away. A new day comes when your light shines. When you lose someone you love, it seems like there's no end in sight. All heartache needs is time, and just a ray of light. One morning when you wake and the sun begins to rise, no more dark and lonesome nights. A new day comes where your light shines, shines. Every little teardrop fades away, and a new day comes where your light shines. Your light shines. Every little teardrop fades away. I'll see you at the rainbow's end, where your light shines.
Very nice.
Thank you. Had a Tarzan moment. Everybody has that. So.
So we're going to let you switch to keys to do another one for us. And while you're doing that, something that we touched on earlier that I just wanted to circle back to for a second was, and earlier Grady used the expression thick skin, but this idea of vulnerability and the challenge of it and also the need for it as a writer. You write a song and you put it out to the world, to the public, and you're exposing yourself in a lot of ways. And you're opening yourselves up to criticism and to all kinds of things that can be tough to hear on a personal level and also just on an artistic level when you've created something and you have to hear something back about it that you don't want to hear. The flip side of that is that it seems to me that artists need that to help gain some perspective on their art. I was mentioning to you guys earlier, I think before the show, that I work with an artist who tends to call up midway through every song that he writes and tell me it's the greatest thing he's ever written. And it's usually not. And he usually figures that out, but it takes a little time and it takes some perspective. So maybe this is more of an observation than a question, but just curious to hear what you guys have to say about that dichotomy, this needing to expose yourselves, to make yourselves vulnerable, for the sake of gaining some perspective, but at the same time, that's a tough thing to do, to put your art out there like that.
It is. But the great thing about songwriting is that you can write a song and hide behind it a little bit and let the audience guess if you're writing it about a personal thing, unless you blab and tell them that you are, or if it's just a story that you wrote. So, and then you can share your stories with people. And the older I get, the more stories I have to tell, just more life experience under my belt, and funny things and sad things and good things and bad things. So, and you can put them all down in song. And music, I can't tell you how important music is to me in my life, but also just to the world, for peace and love and unity and community. Music is really the common thread, the common language. So
That's a great perspective. I've never thought of it in those terms, of being able to hide behind it. It always seems like such an honest, open expression of, here I am, take your shot. So that's a great perspective.
well, it's kind of like being an actor. You see your favorite actors in movies. Well, those actors aren't necessarily the person. They're creating a character. And sometimes in songs, there might be a spark of something that is there in reality, and then you'll run with it and really blow it up into something much bigger than it was or is. But that's the great thing about acting through your songs. So.
I guess worst case, you can always just claim it's a cover song, right?
Yeah,
I didn't write it. Will you play another one for us?
Sure. This one has a little history. I started this song in 1989 when my father died, and got most of the music done, and today I'm just playing it on piano. I have it with everything but the kitchen sink on it on MySpace, but I started it then, and then I came back around, and my grandmother died, and then I started it and took it in a little different direction. And then when I went through losing my mom and my husband within 10 months, I started writing a totally different song. Music same, story different. Title the same. I'm calling it Eternity. And so it's really evolved over 2 years. And I finally finished it, and I'll probably write a few more verses before I hit the grave. But anyway, what I want to do is mention that this weekend is Father's Day. I hope it's okay if I mention that. Mm-hmm. My daddy is no longer with us, but for everybody out there who's a dad, an uncle, a grandfather, a godfather, and of course we can't forget Almighty Father, our God the Father in heaven. I want to dedicate it to our fathers. Let's see here. I've waited all my lifetime just to be with you. Now standing face to face, I watch my dream come true. I look up to the sky and see you and me together. Come into my life and be with me forever. All throughout eternity, everlasting eternity, ever ending, with every sweet embrace and kiss upon my cheek, and every loving whisper makes my heart grow weak. Hold me in your arms again, like there's no tomorrow. Take me to the rainbow's end, where there's no pain or sorrow.
all throughout eternity, everlasting eternity, never ending love, love, oh love, oh love. I've waited all my lifetime just to be with you. Now standing face to face, I watch my dream come true. Eternity, oh, walk with me all throughout eternity.
Very nice.
That's great.
Well, I'm not going to let you get off or out of here without hearing one, because I know she's a character, one funny Loretta Lynn story.
Oh, heavens.
I
Where do I
kn-
start?
I know we're going to hear something good tonight.
Oh, my.
And Moody and
Oh, heavens to
What-
Betsy.
what a
I
couple.
worked with Loretta for 5 years. I just saw her Friday night. She was over at the Cobb Energy Center, and she's got to be 900 years old by now, and I swear she hasn't aged an ounce. And she came out on stage in this lovely gown. She pulled, she wears those big ball gown type things with all the sequins and stuff. She looks like a big fairy godmother, actually, fairy godmother. She pulled her skirt out, and I swear she looked like she was an angel getting ready to take flight. It was incredible. But I enjoyed my time with Loretta because we roomed together sometimes, and of course being on the bus, now they have 2 big fancy buses. Back then we had one bus for 14 people, so it was close quarters. There was another girlfriend and myself who were singing with her, so the 3 of us had this little room in the back. And she loved to read, I'm going to tattle on her, she loved to read magazines like Star Magazine and Inquirer. Oh, she just loved this stuff. I said, Loretta, you know that's not real. She goes, I know, but I just love to read it. And she'd sit there. She ate fruit. She loved to eat fruit. We were girlfriends. Our birthdays were 2 days apart. Mine's April 12th and hers April 14th. So we're Aries hearts. And she's just a crack up, just a total crack up. On stage and off. She's just delightful. I love her. I call her Mama. So anyway.
very funny. Anything else?
I could go on for hours.
Well, I could too, but I don't think we have hours. So, guys, before we go to commercial, I'd like to share with you a little. We're creating an AMP street team, and we would really like to have you be a part of AMP and AMP TV. And if you're interested in being a part of AMP or AMP TV or both, you can just hit me back at gschuman@myamp.org, and we'll be glad to get that information to you. And now you will be hearing from Michelle Kaplinger, the Executive Director for the Grammy chapter in Atlanta.
Hi, I'm Michelle Ray Kaplinger, and you're watching AMP TV. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our Grammy Foundation. We're not just the Grammy Awards, and we're not just the Grammy chapters on the ground year-round doing Grammy professional development events. We actually give monies year-round to high schools all over the country that are in need of money because of their music programs. If you go to our Grammy.com, www.grammy.com site, and then look under the Grammy Foundation, You can learn all about when to submit to be a potential Grammy signature school and receive donations from us. Also, every year, what the Grammy Foundation does is we put out this big search and we go to all the high schools and ask for video auditions of music students to be selected for our Grammy Jazz Ensembles. Now, let me tell you what fun this is. About 40 students from all over the country are chosen. We pay to have them come out to LA for a week, put them up, fly them out there, and they work with top musical directors for a week, and they perform at Grammy Week events. So literally, we are watching. I have been at so many parties of ours where I am in the audience and I'm standing next to Jimmy Jam and I'm standing next to Gwen Stefani and I'm standing next to all these wonderful nominees and previous winners, and we're watching high school students who have come together for this magnificent experience. It's another thing the Grammy Foundation does. And I also want to make you aware that every summer we do a Grammy camp. It's a 2-week camp, obviously with music professionals out in LA, and we've now branched out to New York, and we're coming to Atlanta, and I'll let you know about that when we have those dates. But just a little piece on the Grammy Foundation. Check it out, www.grammy.com, and you're watching AMP TV.
Well, what a night it's been. What a just a wonderful group of talented people. Guys, I want to thank you so much, and thoroughly enjoyed you, and I hope to have some of you back, all of you actually, at some point. It's just been a very blessed evening. Let's give them a big round of applause. All the 1,000 people out there in the audience, all you thousands. And, it's just been such a enjoyable evening. And you know, AMP TV, we're just so excited to bring you this show, and we plan on doing this till the cows come home. I'm telling you, it's just such a thrill. We have a lineup, guys. We're working. We actually have a young lady, a special guest next month, and I can tell you, I had a very exciting thing happen today. We have a major record deal for this young lady already, and it's already happened for her. She played Nala in the Disney Lion King on Broadway. Oh, this girl, she's a classically trained pianist, singer, actress.
Tell them how old she is.
She's 13 years old and doing all this. Isn't that incredible?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so that, we're going to have Bruce Birch will be with us. Bruce is actually, he's the director for the Jolie Katz music business school, is that right?
School, yeah.
Music business school at Kennesaw State. And I knew Bruce back in Nashville. Bruce is a talent that you wouldn't believe. He's had many number one songs, and just a super talented guy. He's going to be our co-host, and we've got a couple of other sleepers that are coming in. It's going to be a very, very exciting show next month, and we're looking forward. And you know, guys, we are funded solely by your donations. We're not a 501c3, so we depend on your support. And we really need it. We really need your support to continue this. And if you'd like to support us financially, you can go to www.amptv.bbnow.org. Let me say that again. You can go to www.amptv.bbnow.org. Remember, you're watching AMP TV, and get plugged in, and we'll see you the next time. Thank you. And Sally, would you like to take us out? Sorry.
My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me, and like a flood, His mercy reigns, unending love, amazing grace. was grace that taught my heart to flee, and grace my fears relieved. Oh, precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior has rescued me. And like a flood, His mercy reigns, unending love, amazing grace, unending love, amazing grace.
And that's all, folks. Very good.